Imagine islands, but not in the ocean. Imagine them floating in the sky. High above the plains of southern Africa, there are these worlds that have been almost completely cut off from our own, holding secrets that scientists are only now starting to figure out. So today, let's dive into the incredible story of Africa's sky islands.
On these peaks, a whole unique world of survivors has been thriving for thousands of years. But here's the crazy thing. The very isolation that's protected them for so long might now, in a weird paradox, be their single greatest threat. So, we're headed to the Ukalamba Drakensberg Range. It's this stunningly beautiful and rugged mountain system in southern Africa. And it's not just a World Heritage Site, it's also a recognized global biodiversity hotspot, which is a fancy way of saying it is just jammed packed with an extraordinary amount of life.
Now, a key feature of this landscape are these incredible formations. See how they stand apart from the main mountain range? These are called inselbergs, and they're basically flat-topped fortresses surrounded on all sides by these sheer, totally inaccessible cliffs.
You know, the name itself pretty much gives it away. Inselberg is just German for island mountain, and that's exactly what they are, ecological islands in the sky. Their isolation means they're protected from grazing livestock, from fires, and from most human activity happening down below. So all of this isolation created this fascinating scientific mystery. I mean, until really recently, nobody had ever done a full-on survey of the plant life on these summits. So for the first time, researchers set out to answer a pretty simple question. What is actually living up there?
Okay, so how did they solve this mystery? Well, they launched this groundbreaking expedition. And we're not just talking about another study here. This was the first ever floral survey of these unique high-altitude ecosystems.
And what they found? Well, it was just astounding. From a distance, these peaks might look like nothing but barren rock. But up close, they discovered these vibrant, secret gardens, absolutely teeming with plant life. Get this, the team recorded 200 different plant species across just 6 of these summits. 200! Now, to put that in perspective, the total area they surveyed was less than 32 hectares. That's smaller than about 60 football fields. That density of life in such a tiny space is just incredible.
And here's where it gets really special. Of those 200 species, 114, more than half, are endemic or near-endemic. And what that means is you find them here and pretty much nowhere else on the entire planet. These sky islands aren't just diverse, they are, quite literally, irreplaceable.
But maybe the most incredible finding of all was this number, 0. The researchers found absolutely no alien or invasive plant species, not one. This just confirms that these inselbergs are among the most pristine, untouched alpine environments left on Earth. They're like a perfect natural time capsule.
Okay, so this brings up a new question, right? How does so much life, especially this super unique life, manage to survive in what is a seriously harsh environment?
And when I say extreme, I really mean it. These plants have to deal with frost that can happen year-round, snow in any month, totally brutal winds, and some of the highest levels of UV radiation on the continent. It is tough up there.
To survive all that, these plants have developed some amazing strategies. On the left, you see cushion plants, which grow really low to the ground in these dense little mounds to trap heat and moisture. And on the right are geophytes. They survive the brutal winters as bulbs or tubers, just hiding out safely beneath the frozen soil, ready to sprout again when summer comes back. Pretty clever. But this whole story of survival has a twist. You see, the Inselberg's greatest strength, their isolation, is now becoming their biggest weakness. It's this thing called the fragile fortress paradox. So here's the crucial point. Those sheer cliffs that have protected them from local threats, like grazing animals and fires, they offer absolutely no defense at all against a global threat, like climate change. Let's break that down a bit. The Inselbergs are safe from livestock, alien plants, and human harvesting. Great, but they are completely exposed to rising temperatures. And here's the kicker, the plants there have no escape route. Here's why that's such a big deal. As the world gets warmer, plants on a normal mountain slope can just gradually move uphill to find cooler temperatures. It's kind of a natural retreat. But on these flat-topped islands, once you're at the summit, there's no higher ground. So where can they possibly go? The answer is pretty stark. Nowhere. There is no escape. Without what's called an elevation refuge, these unique, temperature-sensitive species face the risk of being, quite literally, pushed right off the top into extinction as their habitable climate zone just vanishes from underneath them.
So why does this small, isolated ecosystem matter so much to the rest of us? Well, because these sky islands serve a vital purpose. They are a perfect early warning system, like the classic canary in the coal mine, but for our whole planet.
As the study's own authors conclude, these mountains protect to near-pristine flora. They provide a benchmark, a perfect baseline, that shows us what a healthy alpine ecosystem looks like, totally free from all the confusing factors of local human impact.
In other words, these sky islands have become a perfect natural laboratory. By studying them, we can see the effects of climate change in their purest, most undeniable form. They show us exactly what happens when an ecosystem gets trapped and has nowhere left to run.
And that leaves us with a pretty critical question to think about. These sky islands are nature's most secure, most isolated fortresses. So if even they are this vulnerable, what does that mean for the rest of the world's ecosystems that don't have giant walls to protect them?